4 tips on how to find a good girl in 2021 with VidarReturns Religion and Life Purpose. How do we define a good girl? What females should we avoid? And what 4 things can we improve in ourselves to help bring that right girl into our lives? Today we make a recording for the men. VidarReturns. There are literally thousands and thousands of books on relationships and finding a partner, and new ones are written every year. People around the world are trying to find the person of their dreams. Finding a good spouse has been a challenge throughout all time. This message is being directed at a person of particular mindset, someone who is looking for a good girl, not someone looking for just a good time or a fling or bump and run. Essentially, this message is being directed at good men, a man that wants to grow together with a loving mate and be healthy together and build a life together. If this doesn't apply to you, then you should click off at this time. So to continue, let's define a good girl. It should be obvious that a good girl isn't a whore, but to help guide our mind in the proper direction, we should define some qualities of what exactly we mean by a good girl. 1. She should be loyal to her man. A loyal girl doesn't flirt around with other men. 2. Family-oriented. Thoughts toward caring for and helping dear ones and or elderly family is a very positive trait. 3. Humbleness and not vanity. The humble type of girl tends to be a little more shy in a room. We want to avoid those females with the flashiest clothes and makeup. They're seeking the wrong kind of attention and looking to play games. And 4. Appreciates nature and health. Someone who likes the outdoors, fresh air, and has some value in being active. These here are notable traits to watch out for. We need an idea of the type of person we are looking for. You can have your own criteria as well, but a ship without a rudder will end up shipwrecked on a desert island. Also, it should go without saying that there is no perfect girl out there. We aren't seeking perfection, and we aren't perfect ourselves. But we also aren't trying to fix a broken human either. We are trying to find a girl that is decent and ultimately wants a husband. You don't want to be that poor guy that ends up with a crazy female who disrespects him, runs around behind his back, and he ends up begging her not to leave because he's too afraid to be alone. And so he continues to take her mistreatment until the likely day she will leave him anyway. This story has been replayed 1,000,000 times. Now that we have an idea of our ideal mate, comes the good stuff. What it means to be a good man, and what are some of the most effective things we can do to improve ourselves. Again, to get some of the obvious things out of the way, what a good man does not do. He doesn't sit in the house all day playing video games. He also doesn't go out all night drinking at the bar. So the first lesson of being a good man is, don't be yourself. That's right. I said, don't be yourself. Number 1, never be yourself. This first tip is partially a joke, but also very accurate. Because if being ourselves worked, then we would likely already have the right girl in our lives. For many men, being yourself means being a loser. Don't be a loser. Instead, be better than yourself. Be better than yesterday. We need to seek to be a little bit better person every week, constantly working on and improving our deficiencies. If we don't exercise, then we need to commit to starting a regular routine. If we're terrible at communicating, then we need to seek ways to learn and practice more effective communicating skills. We need to build useful skills and abilities that will make ourselves more valuable in the world. Work toward becoming the best human we can be. Subscribing to VidarReturns is a step in the right direction. Number 2, get smart and live in reality. Most people would do well to delete all fiction, television, and movies from their lives. Addiction to this entertainment is fake, phony fabrications for fools. They are representation fairy tales of fantasy and dreams and not real life, and it will make you fail in the real world. The only time you should ever consider watching fiction media is if it is in the purpose of spending quality time with a girl. Otherwise, let's not waste our life and not waste our brain cells. In real life, as opposed to fiction, initial feelings of love don't last forever, and every relationship has its extreme ups and downs. Instead, let us focus on nonfiction, learning, and improving the knowledge of our mind. Do we ever seek to learn new things about the world just because we want to? That's the way to live all the time. Women are attracted to well-spoken men who are knowledgeable about the world. Number 3, meet real girls. Don't be a simp. There are literally millions of these losers and simps that spend most of their life in a dimly lit room chatting or lurking at people online. They go around live streams and networks, liking and following and oogling thoughts and whores on the internet. This is about the most sad, desperate, and pathetic a human can get, giving up their time and money to a whore online in exchange for a little cheap pleasure in their lonely dark room. It's not cool, and it's destructive to any goals we may have in life. Joining online dating networks is okay, but if we get a date and have no social skills or ability because we spent all of our life online, then how well is that date going to go? Probably not too well. Almost no decent girl wants to meet a man with no life who stays indoors all the time. We need to get our pudgy selves outside, make new friends, join communities of people, join a cooking class, go out and talk to people in the real world. According to polls, as many as 60% of people in relationships still meet together either through friends or community events. Get outside. And tip number 4, this is a few different concepts that revolve around a single idea. Know the most important traits of what it means to be masculine and exercise them regularly. Beware of toxic femininity. Feminism and toxic femininity is the cultural narrative that encourages men and women to exhibit traits of the opposite sex, which inevitably turns them both into undesirable and or useless life partners. Masculinity and femininity are encoded in our DNA and has been expressed throughout thousands of generations and throughout the animal kingdom, and these traits are mandatory for our species to survive. Straight good women don't want to be with a feminine beta male. They aren't lesbians. If they wanted to be with a female, then they'd just go find a female. And so our first important masculine trait is being decisive. When she says, "What do you want for dinner?" we tell her, "I want barbecue ribs with fresh cooked beans on the side and I want it hot." Avoid ever telling her, "I don't know. What do you want?" Decisiveness is a trait of someone with authority and power. When we can think decisively and be confident in our decisions, then other people will take notice. Another important masculine trait is to be brave. Fear is a feminine trait, and women don't respect a coward. We should be brave in killing a spider, or defending against an attacker, or fighting off a virus. There can be a fine line between being brave and being a fool, but for most men, it's better to err a little on the side of being a fool. Just as the lioness depends on the lion, being brave is an indicator that she can rely on us in times of danger. Lastly, be independent. Women don't want to be with a needy, clingy, and desperate male. They want a man that can stand on his, quote, own 2 feet and won't be dependent on her. Dependency is a feminine trait. Independence and self-sustaining is a strong masculine trait. Independence shows that we have resources to take care of ourselves, and she may be able to rely on us in terms of having a family and a future. So, in conclusion, it's on us to make the changes for our better future. To recap, 1. Be better than yourself. We should give efforts towards being the best person that we can be into the future. The secret to being better than ourselves is clearly envisioning our ideal self and making little life changes, weekly and monthly, to move closer to that ideal. 2. Get smart, learn, and understand how the real world works. Avoid excessively entertaining our subconscious mind with dreams and fairy tales and fictional romance, because when we put that garbage in, we're going to get garbage out. 3. Meet real girls in the real world. Learn to enjoy meeting new people and make some new friends. Again, we may do online matchmaking, but don't be a simp that wastes time oogling online whores. Remember, we're more likely to meet a decent girl outside than online. Also, we'll be developing our interpersonal skills. And lastly, number 4, understand masculinity and build powerful masculine traits within ourselves. Be decisive. We make decisions with little hesitations and have confidence in our decisions. Be brave. Stand strong in the face of threats and give her reason to have confidence in us. Be independent. A man is expected to stand on his own feet. If we can't take care of ourselves, then we aren't much value to most girls. And that's the 4 tips. Which do you think is the most crucial to you? And what do you think we missed today or should have added? Leave a comment below. We must always seek to be moving toward the best version of ourselves that we can be. Reject hedonistic pleasure seeking and seek the path of healthy discipline and strength with nature. Be sure to watch our previous video if you haven't yet on the virus scare, why people worldwide are rejecting the COVID vaccine. It's the time now to remember to like this content, share this video, and follow to stay updated with new releases. These videos are produced for free to you and without advertisements. We're on Steemit, Gab, Minds, and ODYSEE networks, and live chat on the Matrix network. All links for these are in the description. Thanks for tuning in. We send out love to all our brothers and sisters and wish you blessings and health. Vidar returns.